Sa semaine, le président de la République, M. Revolum Kalawan, qui fait une interview exclusive avec la télévision laine DDTV, quand il répond à une question journaliste, le plaisir cisé qu'il y a des pays, il y en a en commun, et aussi bonne situation qui peut dominer le monde actuellement, telle que la situation COVID-19. Dans le programme News Extra, tantôt, je propose sa interview avec le président Ram Kalawan.
Welcome, I'm Ramesh Ramachandran and you're watching a special broadcast here on DD India. And I have with me a very, very special guest, Mr. Veval Ramkalawan, President of Seychelles, to talk about bilateral, regional and global issues of interest or concern to both Seychelles and India. Mr. President, welcome to DD India.
Thank you very much, Ramesh.
Good to see you, Mr. President. Now, let me start with the obvious question first. How are you and your government coping with the COVID-19 pandemic?
Well, as you probably know, we are in the middle of a very aggressive vaccination program with help from various friends, including India, with the Covishield. We are now actually either number 2 or number 3 as far as the vaccination program is concerned worldwide. So we are hoping that by mid-March, we will have vaccinated 70,000 people, which represents 70% of our population. And according to the scientists, this will give us herd immunity. We've also had some challenges as far as the number of COVID cases are concerned, but it appears that this seems to be the general trend, like in Israel, even the UAE. When people receive the vaccine, they suddenly let their guards down. And this is what has happened to our people. But we are coping, and the curve is slowly flattening and even going down. So we're hoping that soon things will go back to normal, and by March, well, mid-March or towards the end of March, the country will reopen to visitors.
Right. Mr. President, now Seychelles is the first African country to receive the COVID-19 vaccine from India. And I remember Indian Foreign Minister Subramaniam Jaishankar's tweet last month where he said, and I'm quoting him here, Indian vaccines reach Seychelles. That's what friends are for, unquote. Could you walk our viewers through the kind of cooperation we saw between Seychelles and India over the last many months?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say a big thank you to the government of India, to Prime Minister Modi, and of course to the Foreign Secretary who played a very important role in getting us the vaccine. But one thing that is also important to note is Seychelles is the closest African country to India. So maybe it's also right that we were the first one to receive the Covishield vaccine. But again, this clearly shows the friendship that exists between Seychelles and India. When the Foreign Secretary came to Seychelles, it was at a time when the COVID situation was indeed serious, but we made the right corridor. We created the corridor so that he could come to Seychelles and we could have this conversation. Next month we're supposed to be receiving a patrol boat for the Coast Guards from India, and there are a number of projects which have been lined up. So with the Covishield, as far as helping us get back to a strong economy, rebuilding our economy, this has been very helpful. And with other areas of cooperation, the Coast Guards, the building of Government House, the building of a new police headquarters, and also forensic lab, plus for the Office of the Attorney General. So there are many areas where there has been this cooperation. And of course, all this is done on a basis of respect. We respect each other, and this will continue to be the foundation that guides us. Respect for each other.
Absolutely. Mr. President, Seychelles is important for India insofar as Africa is concerned, and also the wider Indian Ocean region or the Indo-Pacific. Now, how would you describe the current state of play in Seychelles India ties, politically speaking, economically, culturally, and also strategically?
Well, I would say on all counts, it's a 10. 10. 10 for the friendship, first of all, 10 for the understanding, 10 for the help, 10 everywhere. So we're, as far as this is concerned, we're on a perfect score. And we, of course, understand India's strategic thinking, and India also understands our thinking. And as I mentioned earlier, this is the basis of this strong friendship that has always united these two peoples. It's a friendship that goes back to independence. India, amongst other countries, were among the first to recognize independent Seychelles, and we've had countries which have had diplomatic representation since then. Well, of course, we've had Great Britain as a former colonial power, the French, the Americans have been here, but then they've also gone back, and now there are talks of reestablishing a high commission. India, and then, of course, China. These are countries which have been friends from day one. And we will continue strengthening that friendship, making sure that we do not interfere in the internal affairs of each other, but wherever there are strong areas of cooperation, that these can be pushed as far as possible.
Indeed. Mr. President, talking about bilateral ties, Prime Minister Modi visited Seychelles in 2015, and Foreign Minister Jaishankar visited Seychelles in November 2020, just a month after you were sworn in as a president. Yeah. Now, Minister Jaishankar conveyed India's invitation to you to visit India in 2021. He spoke of the centrality of Seychelles to India's vision of Sagar, which is security and growth for all in the region, which characterizes India's policy towards the Indian Ocean region. He also said, as a neighbor across waters, Seychelles was very much a part of the neighborhood first policy as well. So are we looking at following up on these two visits, and can we expect some forward movement on these issues going forward?
Well, first of all, yes, Prime Minister Modi has invited me to come to India, and I'm looking forward to that. The minute things are cleared and the right corridors and COVID is no longer an obstacle, I'm indeed looking forward to visiting your beautiful country, the home of my great-grandfather. So I am definitely, it's in my diary, except that the dates are not confirmed yet. So yes, as far as the region is concerned, as far as the continent is concerned, we feel that Seychelles will play its role, be it politically, be it strategically, be it economically. And as you know, India is one of the country's biggest trading partner, and we are looking forward to increasing that. And already when Foreign Secretary was here, we talked about improving this so that Seychelles can import a greater range of products, but not only import. And the one thing that we talked about was how Seychelles could actually be given some priority as far as reaching your markets and ensuring that we get the lowest prices so that we can also help lower the cost of living in our country. So we are there. And as far as the military aspect is concerned, as I mentioned, we are receiving a naval boat for our Coast Guards next month. And the douanier, we received 2 douaniers from India. One is actually in India right now undergoing routine maintenance. And this is part of the patrol surveillance that we do, because as you know, our EEZ is enormous. We are bigger than France, bigger than many European countries, even though the landmass is small. So we have a lot of lessons to learn from each other. And of course, we recognize India as the biggest democracy in the world. And if maybe we've had a peaceful transition after the October elections, it's part of the lessons we learned from what India does. I mean, it's the biggest democracy, and yet peaceful changes of government do happen.
As you mentioned, Mr. President, defense and security is an important component or pillar of the bilateral ties. Now, in that context, if I might ask you, do you or your government have any misgivings or concerns about deepening defense ties with India, especially ratifying certain agreements of the past?
Well, I think the position is clear on these agreements. We should be able to move forward and not remain stuck on what has happened in the past. I think definitely Seychelles needs India, and India also needs Seychelles. So I look forward in this new administration for us to be able to consider any area. But the one point that I've made it clear is any thinking, especially as far as defense is concerned, has got to involve, here in Seychelles, all parties concerned. And the opposition has a very important role to play. And I think if there should be any discussions, I will definitely bring on the opposition, today's opposition, which was yesterday's government, which actually signed all the various, or negotiated all the various agreements. And as far as defense is concerned, it's not just a matter for me as president or for my political party, but it should involve everybody. Sure. And the opposition has a very important role to play in that.
Right. Mr. President, I want our viewers now to get to know you better. Now, would you like to talk a bit about your Indian origin, how your ancestors came all the way from Chhapra in Bihar, I'm told in 1883, when they reached Seychelles. So would you talk a bit about that as well?
Well, my great-grandfather, as you rightly say, came from the region of Chhapra, which I had the honor to visit a couple of years ago. He did that, from there, he traveled down to Patna, the capital of Bihar, where he took the train and traveled down to Calcutta to embark on a 12-week boat voyage to Mauritius. He was a strong man. Maybe this is where I get my strength and determination. So he landed in Mauritius, but unfortunately he died at a very young age. And when he died, his wife and 2 sons traveled to Seychelles. And in those days, it would have been definitely a 2-week or a 3-week voyage. So they came to Seychelles, but they were not happy to remain on the main island of Mahe. They again took a boat and went to the second largest island of Prale, and that's where my grandfather married a Seychellois woman, and my father was born. But then, when my father was 14, he decided to take another boat voyage. I mean, it's all, my journey is all voyages, the sea has an important role. So at the age of 14, he came to the main island of Mahe. And this is where I was born. And but of course, I recognize this Indian heritage that I have. And maybe from time to time, I see this the strength of the Indian DNA that is in me, the persistence, striving, going for the best, and at the same time respecting values. So basically, this is me, and the surname Ramkalawan says it all.
Indeed,
Lord Rama.
Absolutely. Mr. President, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm told that in 2018, you became the first person from Africa to retrace their roots back to India. And what was that experience like for you?
Oh, there was a lot of emotion, I must say. To have gone back to the village, and when I got off the plane, there were people from the village, from Chopra, who were at the airport to welcome me. In fact, a lot of people joke about all the wreaths that, and they say, well, they tease me here. But the thing is, I didn't have time to remove the previous one before 10 or 15 or 20 more were placed around my neck. And as I traveled, and when we got to the village, the whole village was there waiting for me. And I said to them, in 1883, the child of this village came to Seychelles. And here I am as the soul of my great-grandfather coming back to the village. It was an emotional journey. And I promised them, I said to them, look, I'm the leader of the opposition today, so please pray for me so that I become president. And when I become president, I'll come back. And apparently they heard that I became president, and now they are all waiting for me.
Indeed.
And the promise is, I will go back to the village. I'm looking forward to going back, and probably I'll see how I can help. And I know that the education of girls is very important. So probably going back to the village, the one project that I would like to be involved in is to put emphasis on the education of the girls, because as you know, if you educate the women, then the whole village will be educated, and then things can move forward. But definitely, I'll be back.
Great. And do you or your family keep in touch with people back in India?
Well, unfortunately, when I got to the village, it was nighttime, and then for security reasons, I couldn't spend that much time. But what I'm hoping this time is to be able to get to the village early, spend the whole day, be able to visit it in a more, well, to really get to know the village. I'd like to do that, and through that then really establish the strong links.
Mr. President, just for the benefit of our viewers, I just want to inform them that Seychelles has a large number of persons of Indian origin. Does the ancient Indian civilization resonate with the people of Seychelles today, Mr. President? I mean, what kind of role does it play in the everyday life of people in your country?
Well, let's put it this way. The persons of Indian origin are accepted as part of the population. And when I went to school, I had friends whose maybe relationship back to Mother India was much stronger than mine, who were still speaking the language. I don't have a single word except namaste, of course. So we grew up and we recognize them as Seychellois. We are all one nation, and this is what I put emphasis on. A lot of them are in the trading sector, the merchants, the retailers, and so they are part of the Indian of the Seychellois community, and they receive the same respect. So as far as I'm concerned, I do not see any problems. And of course, being we have celebrations, India Day, and other festivities, and so it's a well-integrated community.
Mr. President, I'm sure the presidency would not leave you with much, spare time, leisure time. But do you have a hobby? I mean, a favorite pastime, maybe? Are you into music, films, sport in particular?
Well, I've been involved in too many things. I was always a sportsman. In fact, when I finished school, I was awarded the Sportsman of the Year award, and I've always been a keen squash player, hockey player. I was in the national team for both hockey and squash. I was a sprinter. I'm also a stargazer. I love astronomy. So, given that here in Seychelles, I mean, we just, the distance we are from the equator allows us to view both northern and southern constellations. So yes, I'm a stargazer. This is one of my hobbies. It's always good to be able to look up, to look at the skies and identify the planets and the various constellations. And of course, we were very lucky because 2 months ago, when we had Saturn next to now I've forgotten the name of it. When they were close to each other, it was a pleasure to be able to, just without any binoculars or telescopes, to see them next to each other and to share this moment of history. So yes, I also love snorkeling, and who in the Seychelles would not love to do snorkeling, to see the beauty of our oceans and everything. So yes, I do have a lot of hobbies, though, as you say, right now it's not always easy to explore those hobbies. But
for instance,
not much time to do snorkeling.
Are you much of a film buff? I mean, do you watch Bollywood movies for that matter?
No, I'm not too much of a film person. In fact, I'm not too much of a television person, and my eyes close easily when I spend too much time in front of a screen or a TV. So, but of course, I love the sports, and in fact, I would encourage Bollywood to come back to Seychelles and start filming again. I mean, we had a number of films which were done in Seychelles, but then it stopped, and when the economy goes back and COVID is no longer one of the hindrances, I would encourage Bollywood to definitely come back here. And why not a film on me as a son of the soil? Huh? Invite Bollywood to do a documentary on me.
Indeed, why not? Last couple of questions, Mr. President. Now, this might interest the viewers at large who might be tuning in from India and around the world. President Ram Kalawan is an ordained priest of the Anglican Church, and it was his pastoral work that actually led him into politics. In 1990, if I am correct, he delivered a sermon which was broadcast on Seychelles radio station. And in 1991, he took the plunge into active electoral politics and launched his own party. And that changed the face of Seychelles' political life and democracy. Now, looking back, Mr. President, what do you like more, pastoral work or politics and the presidency?
Well, in fact, I like the way you put it. What do I like more, whether it's the pastoral work? But this is exactly what I'm doing. I always say to people, look, I remain a pastor, and I find more peace when I'm holding somebody's hand and praying with a person rather than having to sign executive orders. But my mission is to serve the people. And when people talk about the contradictions that exist between politics and the church, I say no. As long as your mission is people-centered, as long as you're taking care of the poor, you're encouraging the youth, you're trying to destroy all the obstacles that change the course of our youth, the drugs, alcohol, and you're involved in maintaining respect and fighting for freedom of expression. Well, it's all part of the ministry to which I was ordained. So I do not see my role as president or being involved in politics as something foreign to my pastoral work. I see that the two go hand in hand, and to this day, that's how people view me. In fact, I can tell you, a lot of people cannot call me president; they rather call me father, and I say to them, that's what I love. I love it when people call me father, because there's this pastoral side, there's this soft side, and I only want to see the best for the people. So that's the way I like it, and I'm still a practicing minister. For Christmas I celebrated the Eucharist, probably the only priest president who celebrated the Eucharist in the world on Christmas Day. I still lead funerals when those close to me die. So I'm still very much involved in the church, but I do not bring the church in. We're not a Sharia state, so to speak. But as a person, yes, I remain a pastor, and I hold the hands of those who are discouraged. I encourage those who are standing firm, and I respect everyone.
Absolutely. On that wonderful note, Mr. President, I thank you once again for making time for us here on DD India. Appreciate it.
Et voilà, c'est une interview qui président Ram Kalawan a donné avec la télévision nationale LEN, DDTV, côté bien si il peut répondre aux questions journalistes, le bon sujet qui est des pays, il y en a en commun, et aussi certains sujets qui peuvent dominer l'actualité mondiale. Pour qu'ils suivent ça, un programme News Extra. Bonsoir et à la prochaine fois.